Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Uber Confessions. I'm your host, Mark Poulos, as always. Sorry I missed Friday. I was hosting the Nurse of the Year Awards at the Mall of America for the March of Dimes, so I had a lot on my plate, so I couldn't get to it, but we're doing it now, So today, I realized the first two episodes were kind of, I don't know if sad is the right word, but kind of, I don't know, not upbeat. So I thought this episode I would tell you a handful of funny stories that have happened since I started driving Uber, and hopefully it'll brighten your day. So one day I picked up a lady and her gent, and they had a giant black lab, and they were like, hey, is it okay if this giant dog gets in your car? And it was pretty early on in my driving experience, and I was like, oh yeah, I'm sure that's fine. Like an hour later in 47 lint roll papers, I mean, the dog shed like a raccoon that was dying. I mean, there was hair everywhere back there, but so they were driving someplace to look at a car to buy. So they were like, drop us off a couple blocks away. We kind of want to just walk up on this car and take a look at it before we meet the guy. So I'm like, whatever. So I drop them off and they get out of the car. Well, it turns out they get out of the car in front of a house where there's a pit bull that's not on a leash. And the lady gets out of the car and she sees this pit bull heading straight for her, and she goes, "What?" and jumps straight back into the car and shuts the door. And I'm like, all right, I'm already in way over my head in this one. So I just kind of waited it out and let her get back out of the car, and they went about their business. That was kind of a funny one. So I don't drive late nights. I don't do the drinking crowd at all. And I thought I would pretty much set myself up for the fact that I would never have to deal with the drinking crowd. Well, Lyft has the thing where you can schedule a pickup. Like if you need to go to the airport in the morning, you can just set it up the night before. So I'll check them before I go to bed just to see if there's one near the house. You know, it's a quick $30 at like 5 in the morning, just driving to the airport. So one day there was a guy that needed to go to the airport. So I took it, and I woke up, picked this guy up and dropped him off at the airport at like 5:30. So I'm driving back to the house and I forgot to shut the app off, and it said, you have another pickup. And at the time I was trying to hit this bonus thing, so I couldn't like not take it, so I had to take it. So I'm like, all right, whatever. So I drive and I pick up this guy at a house over in, I think it was like South Minneapolis. And here he comes like stumbling out the door. It's 5:30 in the morning on a Tuesday, by the way. Starts stumbling out the door, makes it to the car, pours himself into the back seat. Just smelled like a giant bottle of Jim Beam. And he was like, home, sir. And I was like, okay. So we're driving along, and I had the radio on kind of quiet, and that Evanescence song came on, their biggest hit, whatever the hell it was called. I can't even remember the name of it. Anyways, he hears it, and he's like, crank that shit up! I'm like, all right. So here we are, 5:30 a.m., drunk guy in the back seat, cranking Evanescence, and just flying away. Anyways, a couple funny stories for you guys, and... your passenger tip of the day, if you're a passenger in Uber and Lyft, don't get in the car eating, assholes, okay? One of the biggest things about this whole driving is like one of the pieces of advice is that, or one of the pieces that they rate us on is how clean our car is. And you come popping in the back seat and eating a bag of Doritos, leaving crumbs everywhere. Now we have to spend a half an hour cleaning out the back seat. I mean, have some respect, Would you get into your friend's car eating 2 giant tacos? I think it was like my 3rd or 4th ride, I had a little girl and her mom get in the car, and they were like at a restaurant, and she had a to-go box, and like she got in the car and literally like flipped it up in the air, and like it was some kind of seasoned fries and just seasoning went everywhere in the back seat. So that was a blast. So don't eat when you get in the car, okay? It's a 4-minute ride. You can hang on till you get out of the car. Driver tip of the day, I just learned this a couple hot seconds ago. It's actually worked really well in the last couple weeks. So depending on which company you're giving a ride to, whether it's Uber or Lyft, as you get close to the destination, maybe like a minute or two out, go over and turn the other app back on. That way you have 2 to 5 minutes to be trolling for a ride on both companies, and usually without fail there's somebody waiting for a ride, and you never have to be waiting for a ride after a drop off. So those are your passenger and your driver tips of the day. Subscribe to my YouTube channel to get new Uber confessions every week, and check out markpoulos.com for all my upcoming things and such. Subscribe to One Step from the Spotlight on iTunes. Me and Johnny are putting a ton of work into this thing, and it's only going to get better. Today, the episode came out live from Senior Frogs, so make sure you check that out. Thanks so much for tuning in, and tune in next time for another Uber Confessions.